Hey guys, what's going on? It's Wheezy, and we're here to answer one question and one question only. How good is the Blight? Let me tell you something, guys. He's good. By the time this video goes live, we're looking at 48 hours of live Blight content. In those 48 hours, we've played maybe 16 hours of live version Blight. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's done so, but I feel like it puts me in a unique position to really speak on the strengths and weaknesses of this killer. Now, if you're like me and you've been burning through blood points into this killer and you've been trying to figure out exactly what is that chef's kiss build to run on him, I'm sure you've seen, searched, watched a couple videos trying to figure out what the top content creators have to say about.
But if they change the add-ons too much, they're gonna gut him because he's add-on dependent. You can't just run him with no add-ons and expect to do good.
What the best build is for this guy. And two of the more popular content creators, TOFU and JUND, both very smart players, very good killers, have come out with identical builds that they believe is the best, and I believe they are gravely mistaken. I think they're very, very wrong. Now, we have also released our own videos saying what we believe the best build is. Now, if you've seen, they recommend combining Hex Ruin with the new Hex Undying. Now, if you don't know what Hex Undying is, what it does is as long as that totem is active, any other Hex totem that gets popped gets transferred to an available Dole totem somewhere in the map. So if they pop your Ruin first, Ruin will transfer to another Dole totem and you keep your Ruin. If they pop Undying first, then it still does the job. It's still protecting your Ruin. They popped that one first instead of Ruin, which gives you X amount more time before Ruin gets popped, which is its whole purpose, is to just act like a bodyguard. It's just a meat shield. So you run those two perks, you pair it with Barbecue, obviously, for the information and for the blood points, and Tinkerer. And Tinkerer's recently been changed. When a generator reaches 70% completion, you'll get the sound notification and you lose your terror radius. So what they're suggesting is when Tinkerer pops, you leave whatever chase you're in, you race over to the gen using his fantastic mobility, push them off the gen and chase them until you either get the down or Tinkerer goes off somewhere else. And then you're supposed to just play this game, ping-ponging around, not committing to chases, and pushing people off of gens for the entirety of the game until finally people just give up and DC because they're bored and the game is taking forever, or people just don't heal and then the hits that you get near gens are downs. Now, this is a strong build. It puts survivors in a very tough situation, and as long as those two Hex perks are standing, you're basically unbeatable. But answering the question, what is the best build for Blight, with this combination of perks is just an insult to him as a killer. Running these perks on Blight is similar to running Corrupt Pop Infury on Hillbilly. None of these guys would suggest that. They wouldn't suggest, if you ever watch them play Billy, I guarantee they don't run Corrupt Pop Infury on Billy. What draws people to Blight is the fast pace, in-your-face, punishing gameplay of just instantly starting chases. Now, his chase power is not very strong, but you can get in chases almost immediately. You'll spend maybe 45 seconds the entire match looking for a chase. Chases are everywhere. You can find them anywhere. It doesn't take any time at all for you to get into a chase. One of the things that is so satisfying about Blight, and you'll see it in this odds clip that I'm about to play, is that the skill cap is high, but what it really tunes into is intimate map knowledge. Killers that really know maps and really know the pathing that survivors are going to take can make phenomenal plays and get hits that no other killer in the game would be able to get. That no other killer would be able to get except for maybe a phasing spirit. And there's no counterplay to that. We all know that. But Blight is just different. It's just, he can land hits that... just watch the clip, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
They dropped? Get my power back in just a second.
So Otz knows, as soon as that survivor runs through the back door of the saloon, he knows exactly where he's going, and using this insane movement speed and insane maneuverability within that speed, he's able to beat the survivor to that spot in what is one of the most notorious loops and windows in the games as being super safe. This is the kind of killer that can really reward high skill cap, high knowledge players. So running a build where you're non-committing to chases, where you're just pushing people off gens and hoping for Ruin to last you 8-10 minutes into the game is just insulting. This is the kind of build you would see on like a Hag. Transport to any trap in the game. run Ruin and Tinkerers together, boom, it's the same build. You just put it on Billy as soon as you get a Tinkerer. Put it on Oni. This build works for anybody. This is just a cookie cutter, copy paste build for any killer that has good mobility, and just throw it on and you'll probably win. You just got a 50-50 shot. None of it comes down to skill. None of it comes down to knowledge. The only difference between winning and losing is how quickly survivors find your totems and the order in which they find your totems. That's how you win. You can play like absolute garbage and 4K with 3 gens left because they popped Ruin 4 times and Undying very last. If that's the kind of gameplay you want, half-ass, brainless, non-committal, not even paying attention and still win with 3 gens left without even having to sweat, then this is perfect. If you're the kind of person that runs corrupt, pop, thrilling on Nurse, perfect. This is your build. Run this. It'll be easy. You won't have to try. You won't have to think. You'll just win. Just as long as RNG's on your side, you got it. There's nothing standing in your way. Survivor skill doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You'll get a couple free hits there, and then they won't be able to get any gens done. There'll just be constant regression, constant regression, constant regression. But if you're one of those players, you're not gonna play Blight. Blight's not easy. Blight takes time to learn. His power is finicky. It's special. So for the people that are playing killer, for plays like we saw from Mott's, for people who want to practice with a high skill cap killer and really be able to flex their game and map knowledge on survivors, don't run there. Don't run that garbage. Don't run it. What's crazy is that they both mention, both TOFU and Scott both mention exactly what Blight's really good at, and then they just fail to create a build that really capitalizes on those strengths. They both know that this guy closes gaps insanely fast, and that if you can catch survivors in between loops, that's where you're gonna punish them and make them pay. However, this build is not meant to do that. This build is for you to just push people off gens and try to get free hits with no terror radius. That's why we suggest Brutal Strength, to catch those survivors between loops. That's why we run Alchemist Ring, to reward us for successful dash hits, get those charges right back. That's why we run Infectious Fright, chain one hit to the next, to the next, to the next. That's why we run Enduring. We don't have to be palace shy. We can be aggressive. We can be in your face. We can be pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and we don't need free pressure from a hex perk that's been popped 3 times. We create our own pressure. We create our own plays. Now, in their defense, I'm sure a killer with weak chase potential like Blight against the sweat squads that, I at least know Scott sees pretty frequently, trying to play a killer like this with this build against a squad like that, it's probably going to be mostly unsuccessful. However, those games account for less than 5% of your time on killer. I'm not going to run an unfun build 100% of my games so that for the 5%, I still have a chance of getting a 4K. Getting a 4K is not the reason you should play, right? That's where a lot of people are wrong. Getting a 4K is not where you should play. You don't play killers just to get 4Ks. Otherwise, you would just play Nurse every game. Right? You play killers to make unique plays that no other killers would be able to make. So don't run a build that any other character could run. Run a build that only your character can pull off. Make plays that only your character can pull off. And try to have a good time. I don't know. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this killer. Even the people that say he's really good, I think they're still underestimating him. In my opinion, I think this is the most interesting release they've had since... at least Huntress, maybe even Billy, maybe even since the game launched itself. I think this is the best job that they've done in designing a unique and attractive and interactive killer since maybe even the launch of the game way back in 2016. All right, now that the little hurt inner fanboy of Blight has gotten that off of his chest, we can take a deep breath and then we can answer the question I asked at the beginning of the video. How good is the Blight? I'm gonna try to squeeze them into my tier list here, okay guys? It looks a little something like this. In S tier by themselves, still Spirit Nurse, that's not gonna change. Then from there, it gets a little tricky. Then you slide down into A tier. And in the A tier, it goes Billy, Freddy, Oni. That much I'm certain about. Then this is where it gets tricky. I wanted to put Blight right there. I wanted to put Blight right behind Oni. However, because of his weak chase potential, as good as he is at finding chases and starting chases, I don't think that he can overcome how good Pyramid Heads chase potential is. He just renders pallets and windows completely useless. So I think Pyramid Head comes first, then followed by Blight. Then you'll have, Deathslinger, Huntress, Bubba, Demo, Ghostface, Hag, Dog, Pig, Plague, Myers, Trapper, Legion, Wraith, Clown. All right. So I think he fits right there into that A tier. And I don't know, once we get 75 hours on him, 100 hours on him, maybe I bump him up. Maybe you see just how high that skill cap goes. But for now, I think that's where we sit. Nurse Spirit, Billy, Freddy, Oni, Pyramid Head, Blight, Deathslinger, Hunty, Bubba, Demo, Ghostface, Hag, Dog, Pig, Plague, Myers, Trapper, Legion, Wraith, Clown. Okay. Again, I will say, every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on Twitch. Put my link down there. Come hang out. Come ask questions. Come see some crackhead Blight plays. We'll be #1 in A pretty soon. According to my mom. So until then, guys, I guess we'll just see you in the next video. Peace.
Bitch!
Damn it, it wasn't soon. Oh, we still got it. What the fuck? Holy shit. Get gamered on, nerd.